everyone. Hope you all are in pink of your health. As we had promised to make you meet new people while sitting at home, we are back yet again with another episode of Kidzlive. Today we have with us Shuchi Singla and Amit Mishra. Let us start the show with a quick intro. So, Amit is an entrepreneur and enabler in the Indian startup ecosystem for almost a decade now. He advises companies on the Indian entry strategy. He is also a TEDx speaker and works closely for some government initiatives too. Welcome, Amit.
Thank you, Nishta.
We also have with us Shuchi today. Shuchi is an entrepreneur and process transformation coach by profession, artist, and blogger by choice. She is the first ever female XSCALE steward across the globe. She started her journey of entrepreneurship in 2014 with her company Bafflesol Technologies, a leader in Microsoft Dynamics 365 implementations and digital transformation. With her background in Agile and Kanban process creation, she ensures that the company grows embedded with its fundamental values. Shuchi is an organization builder and strong leader, known for starting up and scaling businesses through vision, intuition, technology, and user experiences know-how. As a certified coach, Shuchi specializes in business, process, transformation where she helps companies in streamlining their internal systems. This transformation has helped multiple companies to re-engineer their processes to ensure better return of investment and efficient use of their resources. She is an active advocate of adopting agile practices in daily systems other than just technology-related activities. She believes that through this thought, through changes, we will create a better environment and adoption of best practices for future generation. Welcome, Shuchi.
Thank you, Nishtha. It was too heavy, I think, but yeah.
So today we will talk about design thinking and processes in life.
Right. So, Shuchi, let me welcome you. You have been a part of the extended Kidzpreneur team for quite some time now, an avid supporter with our initiatives too. So I think it was a long due, to get you on the show, right? So thank you so much for taking your time and being there with us. The usual question which I ask everyone, right? And I think we have some common connection there. We started from the same cities as in childhood. What has been your journey from childhood? You started from Chandigarh and Ludhiana and then came to Delhi. What has been your journey, and were there things which you think you can relate to, saying that these things actually ensure that whatever I'm doing right now? Were you a process oriented kid while you were in your school?
I think I've always been a rebel, Amit. I don't know if I was a process oriented, but ever since I think I have a memory, I remember my mom telling me that you have to be an independent girl who has to be very headstrong and know what you are doing and understand your actions, right, while you are doing it. So I'm coming from a service class background. Entrepreneurship obviously was not very easy because I had a typical mindset that of pehli tarikh ko salary aa jani hai. Coming from that background, it wasn't easy. When I started doing my freelancing as well in 2014, I would, if my payments would be delayed or something like that, I could get very anxious. Okay, this is not for me. This is not for me. But I think this thought process that I have to be independent and I need to do and I need to get what I feel is right for me. I need to achieve that. That upbringing in my head somewhere kept me going, and I was very headstrong about it. And I always knew what I wanted to do. And I think I have always followed my heart over my brain more. So I think it wasn't easy. Obviously, I didn't have a lot of support initially, but now my family, everybody are very supportive of the idea, and they know कि ये सोच लेगी, ठान लेगी तो कर ही लेगी. She will fall down multiple times, but then she will know what not to do again, and she'll carve her path. So yeah.
Right. So thank you. We are going to talk about design thinking today, right? So I think it'll be good for everyone who is listening to us to understand what is design thinking and why it is important for us.
Okay. If I have to put what is design thinking in a simple term, it's a process which will help you, define your problem. All of us know that we have a problem, but a lot of time we are not able to decode the problem, right? It helps us understand the problem in a better way and help us find a solution. It takes you from a journey where detail out the problem, start to ideate what could be the possible solutions, and finally come up with the solutions which are like tick mark, and okay, this works, and this needs to be implemented or maybe improved in a better way to make it or achieve a goal that I have in mind. So uh, in a very layman language, it's a 5-step process which helps you, one, define the problem, identify what could be the possible solutions for the problem, uh, then identify if you are going in the right direction for those problems, and then finally come up with the final solution to make sure that this is how it is done, right? And there could be, so design thinking obviously does not ensure that you are going to have a straight path. The journey will be zigzag, but what does it ensure is that with every movement that you do, step forward that you take, you would have a learning, and that learning is in a positive direction.
Great. So, what are the 5 stages of design thinking and how can it be implemented in daily life?
So the first stage for the design thinking is empathize. Empathize is understanding knowns and unknowns. So while I say understanding knowns and unknowns, it means that understanding different perspectives, right? What happens is usually in the daily life, whenever we are stuck somewhere, we only think from our perspective. We are not ready to understand different approaches, right? And that's very human. So, and even I do that a lot of times. But it helps you, think more perspective. What would have happened the other side? It helps you, uncover knowns and unknowns about it. Then the second is define, where you start understanding the problem in the detail. You start defining it, what needs to be done, right? What actually is happening and what could be the end goal to make it success. Then ideate, where you start coming up with the ideas that could solve or what could be the best fit. So which are more feasible. अब ideas तो बहुत सारे हो सकते हैं ना यार, problem ही ना होती, काश ये हुआ ही ना होता. So that's not an idea, right? But what is a feasible solution or more viable solution towards solving it? That's then prototyping. You start experimenting. Is it working? Is it working? Probably in day-to-day life, you start maybe you have a constant argument with somebody. You start exploring what kind of ways could work to make that argument settle down, kind of a thing. Prototyping, and then finally testing. Testing is where you are trying to put it in a real-time situation and you execute it. And basis the results, you continue to repeat these steps. Obviously, these are not linear steps. You can go back to any kind of any step at any stage of while you are taking a feedback. But this is what for the 5 stages of design thinking are.
So, how can it be implemented in our daily lives?
I think I already answered that question, but just to restate that, from understanding different people's point of view to understanding that if am associated with somebody, right, how could I make it better, or maybe how can I analyze that situation more better from that person's perspective and even my perspective, and coming up with a win-win situation. So now, just to give you an example, one of the activities that we did as part of Kidzpreneur was to come up with a poster to sell the services, which is something that we do in a day-to-day perspective. So from understanding the persona of the target market, what could they think, and what is something that could affect them, right, while selling the service, is something that you can come up with from these 5 stages of design thinking. So persona identify here, which is your problem identification. Then you would have a target market. So for example, in that particular example, we were selling English courses, I think English course, right, Amit? Yeah. So then where students came up with different personas. Some of them wanted to sell it to the fellow students only. Some of them wanted to sell it to job seekers. Some of them wanted to sell it to shadi, people who want to get married and impress their would-bes while speaking English. So different personas hai, lekin unko, or just because the personas and target segment was different, the complete effect of the poster changes. Right? So these are the things that you can uncover while you are following these steps.
I hope I can also implement these things in my life. Moving forward, is design thinking particular to a age, or it can work with any age group?
No, I think it's more of a habit. It's not a uh, it's not just a 5-step process, or it's not something that you will only start doing while you come to a certain age. It's more of a habit of how you understand things and how you react to those things. It's more of that, how you take your problems and with what attitude you encounter your problems. It's more of that. So I think once you start understanding that, okay, you are in a problem, I think that's a perfect age to start thinking in that way. A lot of times we are already thinking in a design thinking way, but it's just that this is a scientific tag that we had added to it. But बहुत बार हम already design thinking approach follow कर रहे होते हैं, right?
So how design thinking is different from project-based learning?
Design thinking and project-based learning, I think, still go hand in hand. They're not entirely different because for me, a project is nothing but a problem for which I'm trying to find a solution. Even if my project is I need to create a mobile app, I am trying to cover a solution, right? That's a project for me, and design thinking will fit in every project, right? But obviously what you need to understand is at a given point of time, design thinking will help you only solve one kind of a problem. It will not be, okay, thus problems hai, I will add it in the funnel and I will work on it. It's not like that. You need to understand how to prioritize your problems and then find a solution. So I think the project-based learning and the design thinking will go hand in hand. One kind of a approach towards or a processed approach for a project will go together. It cannot happen कि मैं project अलग चला रही हूँ, design thinking अलग चला रही हूँ. For a given project, you will have that approach. So I still, if I make sense, but hand in hand.
There must be some principles of design thinking. Would you like to share that with us?
I don't know. From a principle point of view, I think we need to be very clear in what we want. Till the time we don't know that we have a goal in hand or what is the solution or what is the success parameter that we want to achieve, we cannot implement design thinking. Till the time, for example, another example that I have done with Kidzpreneur itself with the students was for this Safai Abhiyan, right? If I don't know my end goal, what I want to achieve, right, there is no point starting. So I think the first step before you start even talking about your problem is to understand what did I need out of it, in what form I needed it, and how I needed it. If you are not clear of that, you will not be able to even define your problem. Because जब आपको final, you don't know the structure of your final outcome, you will not be very sure of the exact problem. So this understanding of the end goal is very important. And that's when you will start analyzing your problem and understanding your problem better.
Right. So Shuchi, one of the things which is happening right now is thanks to the new education policy which is getting implemented. Design thinking, artificial intelligence, things like new things are getting added to the entire curriculum. How do you think, the educators should pursue this? Because this is something new for, teachers also. And I'm not sure we have a lot of Shuchi Singlas across India, right, to handhold these guys. How do they, should approach it? If you have some, inputs there.
Uh, I think one of the things uh, which was happening after we grew up or we went through our schooling and before our kids started going to the school, what was happening was there was a lot of hand holding which was happening from the schools. There was no scolding, and there was no competition kind of an approach which was happening. The 90s kid kind of the kids that went to school in 90s. So, but what now fortunately has happened is that teachers, at least that what I have observed in my daughter's school is teachers are, you know, grooming the kids with the mindset that they should be able to fit in any kind of an environment, right? They are born entrepreneurs. They want to go through an entrepreneurial journey. I don't is not sure, but at least they have that kind of a mindset. So, in order to make them independent, I think they are letting them fall. It's very important that teachers and as a parents, all of us let them fall. And when we let them fall, I think they start understanding their problems little much better. And while they understand their problems, they want to come up with a solution. I think somewhere we all of us are protective. We don't want our kids or our loved ones to fall. But yes, it is important. But yeah, caution is also something that so I think that approach, which teachers now, which at least I see in my daughter's school, is they are very okay if you're not working. They are even if you are, struggling with something, they will let you do what you want to do. To explore different options. So I think a lot of schools are already doing it unknowingly. They're not calling it a design thinking approach, obviously, but they're letting them understand what the actual problem is and how they can solve it. So I think that's somewhere unknowingly already happening.
So this is a very valid point you made about letting kids fail or fall so that they can learn on their own terms, learn they find their own direction rather than we providing them directions. And we run this through, you and me run this initiative called Shit Happens. I think we started from the same values for entrepreneurs also. Do you think it may be valuable for kids also to probably we start something for kids? Because the reason is I think kids are already bombarded with too much information. There's too much happening in there. So they have school, then they have tuitions, and then folks like us push them to work on design thinking workshops and stuff like that. Do you think they will have time to understand or accept that I'm good, or I should learn from my failures, or am I ready for failing also?
I think it's a wonderful idea, Amit. Doing shit happens. Probably we might have to use better word, but doing shit happens with kids would be a amazing idea because that definitely gives them, a way to retrospect on how they are handling things. It's not just how they are doing their school work, right, or how they are handling their studies. It's also sometimes in handling their personal relationships with their friendships, because now things are so fast, they're not getting to meet each other, everything is happening on phone virtually. I think in last 4 5 months lot of dynamics has changed. Like there is such a big change which has happened in way people have started interacting, and there is a lot of pressure on kids. They are online from like 8 to 4, the Zoom classes happening, and then homeworks coming in, projects are still happening, exams are happening. I think they would definitely love idea of venturing out and telling them that okay, this is what they went, this is what they did wrong, and this was something they didn't want to do, and this is how they fixed it. A lot of people, I think everybody, because it's happening across world, it will be a very good idea and initiative to do that.
Right. So probably we should look at a different word altogether. I think this is the homework for us, to find
Have
a
you
new word.
got another idea?
So you also made a point that today kids are more open, more expressive. They already have an entrepreneurship mindset. So I think it's more about helping them identify or channelize their strength, energy, and the brain power. Uh, any things which you have working with students yourself, and you have almost a teenager in your house, some things, some things which you have realized that these things can be done a little better?
I think the way these guys are being taught, one, uh, I think there is way too much pressure which is coming up. Initially, everything was experiment and experimental project-based learning which was happening. But now, uh, since they are not getting to do a lot of projects, they don't get out in the grounds or in the playgrounds or in the fields to really need to think of a way to evolve that kind of a thinking back. A lot of things are just happening basis what Google is telling them. Obviously, Google gives them the complete information. Lekin, fail and the hands-on experience which they used to get in that experiment, that's not happening. So I'm not sure even how that can be done virtually, but I think that really needs some thought process.
So this,
How do we do?
right.
I think my internet is little
Yeah, we are hearing you in bits and pieces. So yeah, I think it's better now. You talked about retrospection. That these kids have to think on their own, and they don't have now a peer network offline to talk to or share stuff. And this was one of the first, I think, the most important thing which came out of from our interaction with kids also, that all these kids are looking at uh, a support system where they are listened to and understood, because the parents have a different mindset altogether. The teachers are, I think, forced to do just complete their curriculum. That's the job of teachers today. Uh, so if we have to get them to think more around processes and systems, what do you think? I think it's a question more for parents. What are the some things which the parents should proactively do so that this this gap can be filled?
Okay, so this is something that I do a lot with my daughter. I think obviously day-to-day life has become too hectic, so this doesn't happen day to day, but once in a month kind of a thing, or depending upon how you are placed, once in a quarter. I think it's a very brilliant idea that if you sit with your child and ask them, okay, what are the things which have happened recently which you think could have done, should not have done, should not have happened, or if they have happened, how do you think you could have tackled it little more better, right? So I do this activity with my daughter, and there is no fixed timeline that I do, but yeah, I do sit with her at times and I do ask her questions, and the things that she comes up, I think it's pretty something that is out of box for me, at least as a child, as a 12-year-old. I think I could never think of. But if you, I, I think they're very sharp. They're very sharp. So they know, and they have that they have the sensitivity to analyze the things. So I think if I have to connect it back to the design thinking, the empathizing factor these days with kids is very high. It's just that we need to groom them in the right direction, right? We need to force them to think more. Uh, Typically, there is an approach called as 5 whys, where you if ask somebody why 5 times, whosoever person is, whatever the person wants is not inclined towards, he or she will be forced to think, right? So techniques like this really help. So I think it's very important to go back to your kids once in a while and ask them, okay, tell me 2 things that you think you could have handled better, or you think you handled really greatly and you were too good in it. So you get to understand both the perspectives of the child. And they
Understood.
get a habit as well, right? So empathizing is nothing, but you're taking them one step towards design thinking.
Yeah, I think this is a great point. If parents can probably internalize it while they are talking to their kids, I think this will change a lot. The equation will change between the parents and the kids. So my last question is, a lot of kids, I think from our generation to the new generation, a lot of these kids are overachievers. They're not considered overachievers. They are overachievers. They are doing a lot of things. They're good at studies. They're good at arts, sports, and I think there are parents who are forcing them to excel. Parents who are forcing them to live up to their dreams. जो चीजें parents नहीं कर पाए, वो चाहते हैं कि बच्चे कर ले. Uh, how do you think? And this is a question which kids are never asked, right? This is a question asked. This should be a question asked to kids also, that what do you think? And I think I'm getting a little confused with the question, because this is a little bigger question. How do we keep them grounded? Because all this, all these new things, saying that मुझे सब कुछ आता है, एक वो भी sense है. This comes in very frequently with kids, and कि मुझे आता है, मैंने ये भी कर लिया, मैं YouTube चैनल भी चलाता हूँ, मैं TikTok पे भी हूँ, मैं ये भी कर रहा हूँ, मैं आर्ट्स में भी हूँ, मुझे खाना बनाना भी आता है. So there are too many things happening. So for them, doing a process management or a design thinking would be a little too low, as a standard. कि मेरे को जरूरत ही नहीं है, मैं तो बहुत कुछ कर रहा हूँ. So how do you how do you ensure, as a parent, as a educator, or as an enabler, that this can be inculcated? या जमीन पे भी रखें उनको, and these processes can be embedded steadily in their thought.
I will end up being a Hitler mom, but I think I do a lot of challenging. So for example, if let's say my daughter says that this is something that she knows, then probably I use my Google Guru, and I'll come up with the more difficult point to it, and I would want her to do. So like of lately, she's trying her hands into digital art, right? And she keeps telling me कि ये भी हो गया, ये भी हो गया. Then I come up, find internet images of digital art, and I give her the most difficult one. ये बना के लाओ, ये try कर. I think you are right, because these days, since schools are not inculcating that habit of competition or maybe continuous improvement, they are more towards they have that habit, but they do talk about it, but it's happening in a very very subtle manner. हमारे time पे it was, हम लोग क्लास में फर्स्ट है, 10th है, 12th है, बहुत क्लियरली हम लोगों को पता होता था. These guys don't have that kind of a grading system anymore, right? So I think having that spirit of telling them कि no, there is a lot that you still have to do, you need to continuously challenge them, and at times you have to create that balance between being a soft parent and a strict parent. So I think the way I do is, there are days when she tells me that okay, I'm doing good, I would appreciate her and acknowledge her, and there would be days while out of blue I'll come and I'll just give her something कि आज ये कर आओ, give her a difficult task. Obviously ऐसा नहीं है वो नहीं करती है, she explores, she starts doing it, but since now they have more channels to explore things as well, but at least somewhere in her head she gets that कि okay, I shouldn't be saying. Now I think from last 1 year she has stopped saying कि I'm a champ. She might want to say it, but that has become too subtle now. So she is now more open to explore things. So yeah, I end up being a Hitler mom quite often.
And I was thinking that probably you will give some tips on design thinking there, for parents, but
no, I think it's not design thinking tip here. It is more about challenging them and obviously if you will challenge them, that's only when they will start to identify कि कैसे करना है उसको. Yeah. So design thinking is a later process, while first is the kid needs to acknowledge कि he has or challenging work to do.
Right. No, I think these were great points from all aspects. Design thinking, managing kids, talking to kids, getting them to open up, and creating that balance, which is very important today. Because of the pandemic situation, I think they also need a venting point, a system where they can talk to parents more openly. I think that is very important. So we covered, I think, a lot of grounds around design thinking, and I think there are a lot of points which parents can pick up, a lot of points for educators to pick up, and hopefully we will probably see if we can support the educators to teach design thinking, through your process driven approach also in the future.
You
Right.
guys are already in the right path, and you guys are doing a lot of mindset change, shift work already. So yeah, very good job there.
Thank you.
I would like to thank all the audience who have been watching us on Facebook Live and going through the recording after the session. Thank you, Shuchi, for being the part of Kidzlive. These testing times under COVID-19 situation has created a vacuum and forced us to face times we had never dreamt of. Engaging students has become quite an effort who are forced to stay inside their homes 24/7. So Kidzlive initiative, like many others, may help to keep your child engaged and updated. You also reach out to us with your suggestions and feedback on our Facebook page or on our website, kidzpreneur.com. Even if you want to understand more topics, you can tell us and we'll get the experts for you. Thank you for being the part of Kidzlive show. Thank you very much, Shuchi and Amit, for joining us today. Thank you.
Thank you, Shuchi.
Thank you, Amit. Thank you, Nishtha.